Now listen up. 3, 2, 1.
It's showtime.
That's great.
This is ridiculous.
99.3 The Truth.
You can't handle the truth right now.
Ooh.
That was the stupidest thing I ever heard.
Let's do it.
Hit it. It's time for Max World.
And here we go.
Everybody, let's get it started. Let's get it started.
Call Mac 244-0077 or text 809-0993.
It's showtime, everybody! Showtime!
Exclusively on 99.3 The Truth.
All right, 7 at 4:07. 23rd day of May in the Lord's year 2016. J. Michael McCoy, my good friends from Weiss-Merkle. I've been working with you guys how long? And it's always been an and in between, Weiss and Merkle.
Well, I wanted to save you a couple words.
And is one word.
Well, at least
and
today.
If I'm typing,
I'm talking
it's just
about
an
the last
ampersand.
3 months.
Oh, thank you. Yes, words are my commodity.
Yes.
Well, I bet you want a credit on your bill then, too, don't you? Because
No, I
I'm
wasn't-
saying too many words.
Well, I wasn't going that far, but
Oh, okay. But if you see one on there, that'd be okay for you.
That'd be cool.
All right. These guys are welcome to participate in this next conversation, but I clearly want to state that the opinions about to be shared are not those of these retirement specialists. These guys are the real deal. They're helping me. They're helping Bob. They're going to help you if you give them an opportunity. They have great value in people's lives. So I want to just set that down for just a little bit. And if you guys want to talk, you can talk, because I don't know what I am. Am I mad? Am I sad?
You're incensed.
I'm at one end of some emotions. In Altoona this morning, Altoona, Iowa, not Altoona, Pennsylvania. This is right down here by this is funny. Right down here by the casino. Somebody called in to the Altoona Elementary School that there was a bomb threat. In an automated phone call, which Lauren was telling me that means the voice is kind of masqueraded.
Right, it's altered.
And obviously there's no caller ID or anything like that. Said bombs were inside the school. Students were relocated to the Methodist Church next door. And then it goes on to tell people how they can pick up their kids. Then, an hour later, it happens at Valley High School. So they evacuated Valley High School due to a bomb threat. The West Des Moines Emergency Services are trying to determine if the threat is credible. A command post was set up in the West Tower lot just north of the high school. This kind of goes back to the conversation we were having earlier. I mean, I guess you can't stop people from doing it, but there's got to be a punishment. I mean, this is terrorism, and don't get all wacky on me. I don't have my tinfoil hat on. I'm thinking about a 8-year-old little girl or little boy who's going to come home from school today scared, more scared than they've ever been, because somebody tried to blow up my school, Mommy. I don't want to go back to school, Mommy. I don't feel safe at school, Mommy. And then the fear of terrorism begins to set in. And I don't think this was somebody with brown skin who spoke different languages and wore a different hat or a different coat. I think this was a redheaded, freckled boy. Obviously, I don't have any idea. I think this is just somebody's kid. It's finals week at Valley. Maybe they wanted to get the kids out of school so they wouldn't have to take the tests. Maybe it's a kid that's been bullied and picked on, and he or she is obviously a geek. And I say that in a good way because I figured out how to do. I'll be honest with you. I've been in radio 40 years. I don't know how to make an automated phone call. We don't have the equipment here to alter voices. I know you can buy that piece of equipment, but the only way you would ever buy that piece of equipment if you wanted to use it. I mean, I have had them before on talk stations where somebody called in and they didn't want their voice identified. But the only other reason for that is to do harm.
Well, do you think those could also be computer-generated voices?
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, okay.
In fact, there's probably even apps out there right now. I don't think with the technology they have today that it's probably that difficult.
Well, I would suggest.
Yeah, I bet you're right. I mean, I think about all the editing software that we have ours is a professional software, but I think you can buy it for an Apple or a Google or Android or whatever that stuff is, and PC for $150, $175.
Right.
Well, 99.99% of the time, these are false alarms. But what it's meant to do is divert manpower and resources away from something else to go off chasing some red herring or some rabbit trail that means nothing. While maybe somebody's got some nefarious thought at mind that while the left hand's doing this, I'll go do I'll go rob the till over here while they're all over here doing this. So it's probably but you can't risk the chance that one time is the real thing.
Yeah, and I think that's really the net effect. Is what happens is this could be a prank, or it could be somebody trying to left hand, right hand. But what happens is, in the event that something does take place, like it has across the country, are we as ready as what we otherwise could have if we don't have these false alarms?
Hold on, Lauren. Hold on, though. I cannot think, and somebody fill me in here because I may be wrong. Bob, you're the smartest guy in the room here. Well, pretty close. I can't think of one school that a bomb threat's ever been called in someplace where it blew up. Not in America.
Right.
Now, am I wrong on that? Somebody tell me.
I was in school one day in high school. It was my senior year, I believe, and we had a bomb threat. And it was a kid that was pissed off, and they went into the girls' bathroom and dropped a note. Somebody found it, called it into the office, and we got let out of school. Later, they came in and they told the dean and the principal that, hey, it was a mistake, but I did this to get let out of school early. That's what it was for.
What was his punishment? Do you remember?
I don't know for certain. Probably some community service, something like that.
See, there's a part of me. Yeah, there is. There's a part of me that wants to just simply say, ignore them. Ignore bomb threats. But then, that one time, and 137 kids die, right?
Yeah, and I don't think we can really go off of historical occurrences because there may not have been a school in the past that has blown up due to a bomb, but people are coming up with all kinds of crazy new ways that people are not suspecting to hurt people, to hurt innocent people, and we just can't take that chance.
Well, I am. My prayers are with you. If you're the parent, and it's not that it's any easier for high school kids, but I'm just thinking. This is an elementary school, so you guys have young kids. What is that age? That's age 5 to 10.
Yeah, 5 to 13.
Okay, so a 5 or 6 or 7 or 8 or a kid comes home, and I can only imagine being that person's dad and trying to explain to them that the world's okay. And then over my shoulder, of course, is on the cable news network. Just pick one. I don't care which one. And they're talking about planes being shot out of the air in Egypt, and they're talking about 137 people being killed on a street in Syria. And do either one of you have kids old enough that you can talk to those kids about this stuff? Are your kids young enough that where this wouldn't impact them?
My daughter's 4, so she wouldn't quite understand that concept yet, but she's getting there.
Is she?
She's getting there.
If this was her and she came home today, what would you say to her? Dad, now just ride with me for a minute, Lauren.
Right.
Daddy, I was so scared today. I thought I'd never see you and Mommy again. Somebody tried to kill me by blowing me up. I don't want to go to school, Daddy. Yeah. I don't want to watch TV, Daddy. I don't know what to do, Daddy.
Yeah, that'd be a heartbreaking conversation to have.
I'm heartbroken, and I'm having it with myself.
Right.
Yeah, I would agree.
Okay, Mac. There is.
I tell you what. I don't do cowboy justice very often anymore because it's kind of frowned upon. But if I could figure out who this person was at that elementary school, I think that punishment should be massive amounts of. Well, I don't know. That's not fair either. I was going to say massive amounts of exposure, but now some kid out there says, "Oh, look how much attention you get when you claim there's a bomb in the school." I don't know.
And it makes it so much worse then.
Yeah, Robert?
There was a school disaster. They call it the Bath School disaster. After losing an election, and township clerk, school board treasurer Andrew Keogh decided to take revenge by executing what turned out to be the worst massacre at a school in American history. After murdering his wife, he set off bombs that had secretly been planted inside school for months. As rescuers arrived to begin helping the wounded children and teachers, this guy, Keogh, drove up in a truck filled with explosives and blew himself up, slaughtering even more people.
That's 1927.
1927. By the time it was over, 44 people were dead and 58 were injured.
Bath, Maine?
I think it was Michigan.
Bath, Michigan. Okay. Well, all right. Let's get on to some positive topics here. We're going to come back from our first break, and Bob's going to share with us a little bit of the experience he had at the Weiss-Merkle Empowerment College. Did I say that right?
The passport to retirement.
And we're going to open our phone lines then, and if you have any questions about retirement, you're welcome to ask them. 515-244-0077. And you know what? If you've got something on your heart laying heavy about this whole situation with the bombs, you can call in and we'll talk about it. But I also want to have something really positive going on, and that's to talk about we live a long, productive life, and at some point we are either not wanting to work anymore, not able to work anymore, whatever it is, and what are you going to do to make sure you're prepared? Maybe this is more of a serious conversation for me because of the age that I am. I'll be honest with you, I never thought about retirement. My wife helped me think about retirement a little bit more, but I never thought about it until you guys started coming around, and I realized, wow, I gotta figure something out. So I sent Bob there to help me. Bob's going to become my new CPA. All right, we're coming back live here in Mac's World on a Monday afternoon. Thank you very much for listening. Love this job. Couldn't do it without you. On 99.3 FM.
Credit cards are like grandkids. They love you, sometimes get out of control, and it's fun to get a new one. Who can stop them from piling on?
Hi, I'm Tom Coates with Consumer Credit of Des Moines. At the end of the day, you can return the grandkids, but you're stuck paying off bad credit card debt. We'll help you put the fun back into using credit cards responsibly. Right, kids?
Yeah! If you need help getting credit cards off your back, call Consumer Credit of Des Moines.
Hi, my name is David Burrier, your Hope Coach. I host a live weekly talk show called I've Been There every Thursday afternoon at 5:30, right here on webcast1live.com, and on my weekly radio program Saturday mornings at 10 on Truth Network 99.3 FM. I interview common everyday people who have survived incredible life challenges and who testify to God's faithfulness in the midst of their storms. So join me as we bring a message of hope and encouragement. Everybody needs hope. I know, because I've been there.
Hey everybody, I brought Northern Lights Pizza! And it's got Graziano sausage!
Rock and Prevention is celebrating 25 years of creating a caring community. We want to say thank you to the tens of thousands of Rock High School mentors that have carried our message of health, love, and encouragement to over 1.5 million children, teachers, and parents. Our mentors teach children methods and skills to prevent bullying and drug use. Thank you to all the school administrators, teachers, and counselors for their opportunity to serve you. Rock on, fair citizens, rock on! This is Pat McManus for Rock and Prevention, the Richard O. Jacobson Foundation, and this station.
From the RE/MAX Real Estate Concept Studios, this is Webcast One Live. From the RE/MAX Real Estate Concept Studios, this is Webcast One Live.
All right, 21 minutes after 4 o'clock, 4:21 on the 23rd day of May in the Lord's year 2016. J. Michael McCoy with my friends Weiss-Merkle. Weiss-Merkle, I'm sorry. Just correct me every time. It may take me a while.
Those extra words add up.
I'm just happy you finally got Weiss right.
I only messed that up in the beginning. And you know how I remember it now?
Why?
My mom?
No, I remember it because it's why.
Why?
Because I'm always asking you questions. Okay, so why? Weiss, and
Right.
I very rarely mess up Merkel.
No, it's hard to mess up.
If I say Weiss-Merkle, that'll mess me up. Weiss-Merkle.
Yeah.
But now I'm just supposed to drop the ampersand altogether. So you're like a big power law firm with just two of you.
That's right.
We're
Weiss-Merkle.
hyphenated.
You are hyphenated?
Oh, we're hyphenated.
You don't have a slash between them?
No,
hyphenated?
it's hyphenated.
Okay. Are you guys legally married or anything? I mean, have you?
Sometimes it feels like it.
Yeah, I know how that feels.
Yeah.
No, I won't go down that road. All right, I got to get that news story out in front of me. I just get it away, Mac. Get it away. All right, Bob Monster at the Cat in the Hat watching the chat. You weren't asked to go to this thing.
No.
You just said you want to go and check out what these guys are talking about.
Yeah, because I'm an old guy and I need to know about Social Security.
Okay. And so you went to one of them. And by the way, we're talking about the Passport to Retirement. You can go to these free of charge if you get a ticket from us here at the radio station. They're a $50 value, and that's for two, so $25 a person, and it's over 2 nights. So it's really inexpensive in the long run, but you don't have to pay for it if you get one from here. And as we're talking today, if you want to, you can call in, and Jebediah will take your name and phone number, right? That's all you need up front.
That's all.
And then we'll make sure the RSVPs are done, and people can come, and it's this Thursday.
Correct.
Now, this is the second half. So is it okay if somebody picks up this one this Thursday and then does another one down the line?
Yes, because we continually do these each month. So if you can attend session 2, I mean, obviously we're going to be in session 2 for Thursday night, but we'll cover a whole different topic come session 1. So if you miss, you're not going to miss anything, I guess is what I'm saying.
Okay, yeah.
It's just the order might be in a little bit different fashion from the workbook.
Yeah, it's not like watching a soap opera that if you don't watch from day one, you don't know what you're talking about. They come in the second half, that's fine.
Right.
All right. So what'd you learn? Bob, you're a smart guy, so a lot smarter than I am. So
Well, I'd have to say that I'm not really smart when it comes to finances and Social Security. I didn't go to college to learn about Social Security and how to save money. I just don't teach that. I didn't take the right courses.
Well, you remember at the class, though, is there a class even taught in the finance? I mean, I have a finance degree. There wasn't one class that says we're going to cover Social Security in this class and talk about all the 81 different elections that are out there. It's not even taught academically.
Right. And that number to me is just a huge number. I had no idea that there were that many options, which is one thing that I learned there. I didn't learn enough or speak up fast enough to get those books that you were giving out, but that's okay. But the thing is, there's so much about Social Security, and you mentioned in the training, I don't know if it was you or which one of you, but the Social Security people will not give you any advice, and they won't tell you what your benefits. I mean, you can ask them what's my benefit at this age and so forth, but they don't tell you about those 81 different options that you have.
Yeah, and legally they can't. I mean, they're trained from the administration. We're just there to answer specific questions that come into the office, and they have to be somewhat careful, because if the information they give out is the wrong information and it seems like they're giving advice, then the administration has some liability to that. And so they're trained that they're just there to answer the specific question of what whoever's calling in on that particular day, not to say, because it's really easy to say, okay, I got this letter and I need to have this explained to me, and they say, yep, based on our records, you're entitled to $800 a month. Well, that sounds great. If I told you, based on our record, you're entitled to $800 a month, and you've never attended one of these classes, you wouldn't even have the thought to even think of asking, well, okay, I might be entitled to $800, but am I entitled to a spousal benefit that would be higher than $800? And remember in that case study we talked about her husband, where his primary insurance amount was actually going to be $2,000. So really, Jane, in that example, was going to be entitled to $1,000 if she would have asked that question. Right. Now, did the administration mislead her? No. They were just answering the specific question. What's your benefit entitled to? Well, your benefit based on your earnings and your age is $800. Well, coming to this class, she would have figured out, well, if I ask, well, what's my spousal benefit? She would have identified, now I get an extra $200 to go shoe shopping the rest of my retirement. Those are the things that you have to ask the right questions. It's not that the administration's not wanting to give out the information. They're just there to answer that specific question, not to look at all these different combinations to figure out, well, how do I get more?
Right, exactly. And because they don't have time and they have a lot of people waiting. I went to the Social Security office before going to see you guys, and I was asking about that spousal benefit, and they were saying, well, we don't know what the new rule will be. Right now, it's what you were saying, that you can get this benefit.
Right.
But they said, but we think they're going to do away with that.
Right.
Well, as far as I was concerned, they told me that they were going to do away with it and I wouldn't be covered with it. But then you guys educated me, because I was of the right age, that I'm still able to get that.
Correct.
But otherwise, I would have taken that and saying, well, they're doing away with it. And then the news media came out and said that they were getting rid of it.
Right.
But no details.
Right.
And this is part of the battle that we've been fighting since just this year, because they came out with this new legislation, which, if Social Security wasn't confusing enough already, it is much more confusing now because of the new legislation. So people hear that file and suspend is gone, and they think that they no longer are eligible for a spousal benefit, where in fact you may be. People hear that file and restrict is gone. They have no idea what that means. But you talk to somebody at the administration, or you hear the news, and you feel like all these options are now gone for you, where in fact they're only gone for a portion of the population.
Right, exactly. Right. And that's what I learned. That's one of the things I learned last Thursday.
Yeah. Should young people be confident in the Social Security system? I've heard some pretty smart politicians on both sides say that basically the system is going bankrupt by 2037, and they'll either have to, three things: raise the retirement age, cut benefits, or means test. What do you think the Social Security system is going to look like in 20 years if you think you have the insight to say what it'll be like?
Yeah, we cover that in the trust fund discussion in our class, and we actually break down the different numbers to say, here's our impact of the different funds that come into the trust fund. Currently, right now, if there's no new legislation, there's no new change, there's no new elections, any of those things happen, we have enough benefits to pay till the year 2032. If nothing changes, then there is a 25% actuarial reduction to everybody's Social Security checks coming in right now. So if they make no changes, that's a possibility.
25%?
25%. Clear across the board. Okay. Clear across the board. And so one of the proposals that are out there is probably going to be that age. So people younger, in their 20s or 30s, probably is not going to be able to be entitled to benefits at 67 years old. I mean, that's currently where it's set up right now. And I guess I make that comment on the idea of, well, I don't think Social Security was ever designed to support 30 and 40-year retirements. I mean, when they first proposed it, it was, you might have been on it for 1 year or 2 years.
Right.
Well, here we are, 30, 40 years into it, and now we've got a system that's supporting people for, they work half their life. I don't think it was ever designed that it was supposed to support them for the other half of their life. So I think there's going to have to be some adjustments to when people will be entitled to benefits.
So what do you think the retirement age will end up being in the near future?
I think they'll.
They're probably going to increase it. I mean, really, nobody knows what's going to happen with this Social Security benefit. But we can look back historically and think that, 1982, a lot of people don't remember this, but in 1982, the Social Security Trust Fund was almost depleted. It was almost broke already. So we've seen this picture before. And what they did is they borrowed from other trust funds to secure the Social Security Trust Fund, and 4 years later, they paid back everything they owed plus interest. So the Social Security can be solvent, the system can be solvent if the political winds allow it to be. There's politicians on the left right now who are saying, let's expand Social Security. So Social Security could be even more robust than what it is now. The key is that just nobody really knows. So our recommendation is for people who are 20 years out from retirement, let's pretend that it's not there. 20 years out, let's pretend that it's not there. Save enough on your own that you can cover your retirement expenses, and if it's there, it's the cherry on top. For people who are 5 years out, 10 years out, then it can be a pretty good portion of your retirement income. For right now, it's anywhere between 25 to 35% of most retirees' income. So it can be a pretty good chunk of a retiree's income, and we need to plan for it appropriately. But for those of the younger generation, just pretend it's not there.
So our guests today are Weiss-Merkle, financial. It is the passport to retirement. If you'd like a couple of tickets to go, I'll get them for you. Call Jebediah at 244-0077, and we'll get you signed up. The second session is this Thursday, but it's not a chronological session. So if you go to the second one first, you won't miss anything, and then you can go to the first one in a month or so or whatever.
June 8th.
June 8th, okay.
So do you agree with these suggestions by a lot of the Republican politicians in particular of private health accounts, private savings accounts, et cetera, to put your money in that as opposed to Social Security, give you the option to do that?
Generally speaking, I believe that the less government control over our lives, the better off we all are. But going back to 1974, where really the privatized retirement system came into formation in a very major way, that was the ERISA Act, which really brought on the 401k plans, which is a private way to save for your retirement. And what we've seen over the last 4 decades is the pension plans, the corporate pension plans, have really gone by the wayside. So we do see a good portion of retirees that are in trouble because they haven't been able to put enough away to support themselves in retirement, and that pension plan used to be able to do that in conjunction with Social Security.
See, that's and you guys know some of my situation, but I there were several years when I put a lot into Social Security.
Yeah.
There has been almost as many years that I haven't drawn a paycheck.
Right.
So my Social I got goosebumps. I'm scared to think what I'm going to have for Social Security. Should I be doing something to build that up? What do I do? I mean, I'm going to be one of those guys that gets a $312 check every month.
Right.
I made that number up, but
right.
Mac, that's a hard question to answer because if you're going to have to alter some of the ways that you acquire your income in order to do that. And so do you feel that putting this money into the Social Security Trust Fund is going to give you a better return from a lifetime income standpoint than if you could do it a different way? And usually a combination strategy in your situation would behoove you better than all or nothing, one way or the other. So
yeah, because if the stock market does again what it did in 2008,
yeah, and that's the danger.
40.7% loss for me and most people.
Yeah, and so I'm not even talking about the stock market. I'm not talking the bond market. I'm just talking throwing your money into a government system versus keeping it in your own pockets.
Yeah.
And there's a lot of different ways you can do it on your own side.
Yeah, we were just talking earlier. I had a rental property that I sold, and I wanted to go back and fix up some of the other rental properties, and the tax code doesn't let me do that.
Right.
It only makes it if I buy another one. I don't want to buy another one. I want to fix up the ones I have. They don't. All right. This is not a wine fest for Matt.
That's the 1031 exchange rules. We all got to follow them.
Yeah. All right. James Weiss and Lauren Merkle, Weiss-Merkle Financial, a free passport to retirement session. If you'd like it, it's $50 value. Call Jebediah 244-0077. And Bob, we'll go back to some of your questions again when we come back live here on The Truth.
Northern Lights Pizza's amazing garlic butter makes amazing breadsticks. Now available in 12-ounce bottles at Northern Lights, Hy-Vee, and Graziano's.
Northern Lights Pizza. I'm Brian Leach, owner of Service Legends, and my position is Chief Talent Officer.
I'm Nicholas Wonderscheid.
I am Bernie Hobbs.
And I'm the Service Manager.
Marketing Director and Client Relations Manager.
Everything that we do is about ensuring that we exceed your expectations.
Our clients are important to us. 100% satisfaction.
We're not just focused on heating and cooling. That's the easiest part of our job, actually, is fixing furnaces and air conditioners.
Everyone that we come in touch with, we want to improve lives.
Bottom line is, we've got our installation guarantees, 25% energy savings guarantee, comfort guarantee, temperature selection guarantee, property protection guarantee.
100% satisfaction guaranteed. Fixed rate or it's free.
All of those guarantees are backed up with a 100% money back guarantee to hold ourselves accountable to making sure that you get what you're after.
Just fixing the problem today. If they have another problem 5 days down the road, it's still fixed rate or it's free.
We use what's called straightforward pricing. Our technicians are going to give you an exact to-the-penny price on what it's going to take before they move forward with any repair. That way you know what to expect.
It's the same price every day.
No surprises.
If you get off work at 5 o'clock in the afternoon, you come home, you realize that, oh, my furnace is broken. Now you need to call somebody out that night. You shouldn't have to pay more for that.
We're guaranteeing service 24/7.
We run afternoons, evenings, nights, weekends. We're staffed to work that.
Phone rings at 3 in the morning. You'll get one of our representatives answering the phone every time.
We're not sending you out to Timbuktu in some call center. It's our Service Legend team members, our mission control team.
I'll take a call anytime.
And then they answer the phones the same way during the day as they do at night.
It's a great day at your service company. How can we make you smile?
That's the only way to provide true 24-hour service.
When you're able to let somebody actually live in their home safely when they weren't able to do that before, where they don't have to stay up at night and worry about, is the heat going to come back on? Are we going to freeze the pipes? Is the baby in the room next door going to be sick because they got too cold? When you're able to help somebody overcome challenges like that, that's impacting a life. That makes a difference. I get goosebumps thinking about it.
I love the team. I love the people that I work with.
We have fun, but we work hard.
I call them my ambassadors of legendary service. If you could just envision what that is, that's who we're sending to your home.
They literally will call in, pick up the phone and call and say, hey, I want to talk to your manager. And I get on the phone, they're like, that technician that was at my house was the greatest technician ever. That's cool to me.
We want to brighten people's days.
Every person that we have going into the house has gone through an extensive background check.
Drug testing, we have a very thorough interview process that 1 out of 140 people make it through.
If we promise you something, that's what you're going to get, no matter what.
We're here when you need us to protect the safety and comfort of your family.
If you're not happy, we're gonna make it right.
If we're willing to put 100% money back guarantee on what we do, what type of work do you think we do?
Give us a call. We're there for you 24/7, 365 days a year.
Enough said.
From the RE/MAX Real Estate Concept Studios, this is Webcast One Live.
4:38, 22 minutes before the top of the hour on this Monday, the 23rd day of May in the Lord's year 2016. Breaking news. We're not going to go into it because I'm with my friends for retirement today. But one of the officers involved in the Freddie Gray death in, I think it was Baltimore. That was the young man who came out of police custody and had a busted spine, right, or broken back or something like that.
After he was put in the paddy wagon.
Yeah, and anyway, the policeman was found not guilty. He was acquitted of all charges. Now that's
so. Can we say riots in Baltimore?
Yeah. Well, I mean, why? Right? I mean, we hope not.
Well,
we hope not.
I don't think his family's going to holler too much. I think they got a $6 to $8 million settlement. So I don't know how a guy gets a fair trial when they've made settlements like that. But they're laughing or crying all the way to the bank. I'm sorry to be the resident bigot here, but they're laughing all the way to the bank.
All right, Frank the Verse in, as well as Bob Montserrat, the Cat in the Hat, watching the chat. And you can make comments or ask questions at 515-809-0993. That's the Service Legends Truth text line. Or you can call us on the phone, 244-0077, and ask any questions that you want. If you'd like to go to their Passport to Retirement session, it's this Thursday from 6:30 to 8:30 at 60th in Westtown, 50th in Westtown, 60th. And no, 50th in Westtown Parkway in the Nat building there. It's where Upper Iowa University is. And then the next session is on June 8th. Did I get that right?
Yep.
And then it'll be June 8th and then what, June 17th?
The 15th.
8 plus 7. Yeah, you're right. So the 15th. So Thursday. Always Thursday nights, always same place.
Nope, that actually is Wednesday. That's a Wednesday, June 8th, and Wednesday, June 15th.
Oh, that's how I got it wrong.
Yeah.
No, I'm fooling you. I was just stupid.
and it's in DMAC and Ankeny,
Oh,
too.
so you move them around?
Yeah, we do.
Oh, okay. All right, well, just stay tuned to this radio station, and we'll tell you every day about this stuff going on. If you'd like a couple of those passes, please don't think that if they're willing to give them away on the radio that they don't have any value. You guys can just tell by listening to these two guys that there's a value there. And here's what's interesting. Do I have your permission, listener, to maybe say something that offends you a little? I don't mean to offend you, but this may offend you. Everybody is going to deal with retirement. So these guys are not talking about something for the rich and wealthy. They're talking about every single person who at one point will either choose not to or will not be able to create an income. And that's when their advice is going to be priceless. And you're going to remember that you heard on the radio back there in May of 2016, that hotshot Big Mouth Mac kind of pushed me aside and said, well, everybody's going to face retirement sooner or later, so be smart now or dumb later. I'm sorry. I love you guys listening, but this is something you need to pay attention to. You know, we don't have a lot of frivolous people on this radio station. I don't have time for it. You don't have time for it. I'm not going to bring up something just to make it exciting. Woo, we get ratings. We don't work off ratings anymore. Talk to any broadcaster. Ratings are gone. It's now about success. It's about you listening to this show and realizing that there's a couple guys on here that are willing to give you for free. Bob, you were there. Did they take any money from you?
Nope.
Did they ask for any money?
No.
I mean, sometimes things are what they seem to be, kids. Okay? They just are what they are. Truth is truth. Sorry, you're a boy. Truth is, I don't want to be a boy, I want to be a girl. I'm sorry. God made you a certain way. God said at some point your body's going to wear out and you won't be able to work, and who's going to pay the bills? And if, don't tell me, you're not going to be one of those conservatives who says, well, when I'm 80, I'm going to turn to be a liberal because I want the government to support me. No. That's not what you were made. That's not what you were trained to do. Not by your daddy, not by your mommy, by God. Right? Right? I'm just saying what the Bible says. It's the truth. 515-244-0077. They're free. They're good for any time, I would imagine, right? Not just this time for this Thursday.
Nope. As long as they heard it on this radio station, it's free to the listeners.
All right. So, Robert, we were talking about you going to this thing, and by the way, I'm going to repeat, you weren't told to, weren't asked to, nothing. You just wanted to go.
I actually wanted to go because most of the time when you ask me to do things, I say no. Right?
I know. You never say yes.
Yeah. Okay. So that was my idea, and I went.
Bob and I spent more time yesterday having fun running around than we've ever spent in all of our 6 years knowing each other together.
That's right.
Did my driving scare you?
A little bit. I was pressing on the brake that wasn't in front of me.
It wasn't in front of me, yeah. All right, so ask some of the questions you've got for these guys, and I don't know if you've got any text, but get them in there, and our phone lines are open.
You know, we were talking about Social Security, and the first session was not just Social Security. You were talking about different things that were important, like Roth IRAs and the like, but you were bringing up the fact that, well, how much do you think you're going to need in the future in order to live the way you want to live, not maybe the way you'd like to live, or you could say that the way I'd like to live or the way I need to live or want to live. And so if you go there, it makes you think about what's important about your future. So I think that's important because many times people don't think about the future. They just live in the present.
Right. Most people are, let's face it, we live in a society of what I call 30 days, right? We pay our bills every 30 days. Our, car payments come every 30 days. We kind of live day to day and thinking of 30-day blocks. And so when it comes to this big change where, I think I'm going to retire when I turn 62, and I've had that in my mind for the last 5 years, I'm 30 days away from 62 before I start making really critical decisions. And that's usually what leads people to a lot of, money left, not maximizing resources, not maximizing Social Security, not maximizing pensions, because they're so focused on making 30-day decisions. And so what we try to do is put some ideas about, well, one, don't procrastinate, because the key to planning for longer term is we got to understand that we are just naturally programmed to think about 30 days, but the key to success is, can we put together strategies that are going to impact us 30 days, 6 months, 1 year, 5 years, 10 years, 20 years. And all of those decisions, when you can boil it down to maybe one page, we call it our retirement analyzer, where we show everybody, here's what your life looks like today at 62. This is what life looks like at 66. This is what it's going to look like when you're 72. This is what's going to look like at 89. So if you retire at 62, does this feel comfortable to you? Or can we work 6 more months and add, another $100,000 or $200,000 to the portfolio at the end so you don't run out of money, or give you that spendable income? Or I guess what I'm really trying to say, Bob, give you that confidence to know if I give up that W-2 paycheck today, I think we mentioned it at the class, that's like being unemployed for the next 30 or 40 years. That's pretty scary, not knowing where all this paycheck's going to come in. To give people the confidence to know what does this look like when I'm 85 years old, and the decisions I make today, how does that impact me? Because without the plan, without some of the modeling and the software and the calculations, I think to myself, when I was younger and I was thinking about retirement, what a daunting task that is, to try and think about all those moving parts and have no idea or tools or anybody that's trying to say, here's what you need to be focused on. Because I think a lot of this boils down to, what should I be focused on before I make that decision? What do I need to understand before I make that decision? Because a lot of those decisions are irrevocable. We can't fix them later. And so we want to have that confidence going into retirement so that we don't wake up 4 years from today feeling like, oh, I got to go find a part-time job because I think I might run out of money because I don't know what my number is. We can answer that question so they have that confidence to know what it looks like when they're 95 years old or even 105 years old, depending on how long you live and what your life expectancies are.
And that's what surprised me, too, that the expected age, average lifespan, has increased, which means you're going to be living longer. What really surprised me is when you said if you were married.
Right.
What the life expectancy is for a married man and woman. And it was in the 90s, wasn't it?
It was. It was like 90.
No.
It was in the 90s.
No.
Yeah.
I'm gonna start drinking again.
Yeah.
For at least one of the people.
Yeah.
Yeah. Not both of the couples.
4:47, 13 before the top. We're coming back. It's James Weiss and Lauren Merkle, Weiss-Merkle Financial, and their passport to retirement. Live here in Mac's World on The Truth.
From the RE/MAX Real Estate Concept Studios, this is Webcast One Live.
Credit cards are like grandkids. They love you, sometimes get out of control, and it's fun to get a new one. Who can stop them from piling on?
Hi, I'm Tom Coates with Consumer Credit of Des Moines. At the end of the day, you can return the grandkids, but you're stuck paying off bad credit card debt. We'll help you put the fun back into using credit cards responsibly. Right, kids?
Yeah! If you need help getting credit cards off your back, call Consumer Credit of Des Moines.
Rockton Prevention is celebrating 25 years of creating a caring community. We want to say thank you to the tens of thousands of Rock High School mentors that have carried our message of health, love, and encouragement to over 1.5 million children, teachers, and parents. Our mentors teach children methods and skills to prevent bullying and drug use. Thank you to all the school administrators, teachers, and counselors for their opportunity to serve you. Rock on, fair citizens, rock on! This is Pat McManus for Rockton Prevention, the Richard O. Jacobson Foundation, and this station.
Northern Lights Pizza, your home of the tasty crust. Our garlic butter sauce now available in 12-ounce bottles at Northern Lights, Hy-Vee, and Graziano's.
Northern Lights Pizza.
Hi, my name is David Burrier, your Hope Coach. I host a live weekly talk show called I've Been There every Thursday afternoon at 5:30, right here on webcast1live.com, and on my weekly radio program Saturday mornings at 10 on Truth Network 99.3 FM. I interview common everyday people who have survived incredible life challenges and who testify to God's faithfulness in the midst of their storms. So join me as we bring a message of hope and encouragement. Everybody needs hope. I know, because I've been there.
From the RE/MAX Real Estate Concept Studios, this is Webcast One Live. From the RE/MAX Real Estate Concept Studios, this is Webcast One Live.
10 minutes before the top of the hour, 4:50 on the 23rd day of May in the Lord's year 2016. At your age, guys, a serious question. At your age, do you begin to see your immortality beginning to show?
I think it started.
Because I imagine you guys are like 35.
I'm 43, Mac.
Thanks, Mac.
I appreciate that comment.
Well, that's very nice.
Well, you have a 4-year-old. That's why I figured.
I got started late. I'm 39.
Okay. Yeah. Well, but still, you're young.
But at 35 was about when I started to see my mortality and really feel it.
Yeah.
That's when, I was very active in sports my whole life, and that's when my body really started to break down, and you just don't get that Superman feeling like I always had before.
Yeah.
So, it's creeping in.
I remember 10 years ago when we bought or 11 years ago when we bought our new house, and I used to have 14 stairs. I don't know, I'm OCD, so I count stairs. This had 27. And I remembered how winded I was going up 27. Yeah. And now, sitting here talking to you guys, I'm glad that people have a source to be able to go to find out some answers. Quite frankly, I didn't want to ask. I was afraid to ask. Yeah. Sometimes people look at people who look successful, and they think that they've got it all together. Well, financially, I'm an entrepreneur. Kind of like I told you the other day, I sell something. What do I do with the money? I don't put it in the bank. I reinvest it into something. Well, at age 57, I think I'm still okay. And we're going to talk off air with you guys about some of this stuff. But, or no, we won't. We'll talk about it on air. We just won't use real numbers. But you just said something that hit me in the back of the head. Maybe I need to go get a fun job somewhere on a weekend or something. I'd love to be a Walmart greeter. I just think that'd be fun. I love talking to people. I think it'd be fun to drive for a car dealer, and picking up people and stuff, just to maybe get some Social Security in there.
Right.
Does that make sense?
Yeah, especially if you choose an activity where you can make an earned wage that counts towards Social Security and you enjoy it, then it makes all the sense in the world.
Can I give more to Social Security than I want?
Yes.
Than the government requires?
No, you can write them a check. I don't know if the government will ever not take your check, but no.
But I can't use it like a savings account and earn more.
No.
Well, you could take one of your businesses and not use deductions as much and pay more and not use like an S-Corp strategy. Because a lot of business owners, we find this, a lot of business owners that are working with their CPAs are actually trying to minimize taxes. But when you minimize taxes, that's a great strategy, but you also have to understand the impact. It is reducing your Social Security because Social Security uses your top 35 wage earning years. Well, if you minimize 10 of those years because you're running a company or using an S-Corp strategy, well, you're not going to get as much in Social Security. I hope you're taking the difference that you're saving in taxes and putting it to a retirement account or some type of a Roth or funding some type of a company plan.
I've got a business. One of my businesses is 17 years old. And the only reason I'm still involved in it is because I love the man who's my partner in that group, a business partner. And this is how he makes his living. He doesn't have alternative methods like I do. And so I haven't taken a paycheck in 10 years. No, nothing. And I do that just because that money's better off left in there to pay the wages for him. I want him to make a good wage for he and his wife and his daughter. His wife doesn't have to work if she doesn't want to. The daughter's going to be able to go to college. But I'm hearing now, kind of scaring me, that even though that thing that I did there for him may have really hurt me.
It potentially could. And that's the other thing. Part of our Social Security planning is if you're curious about what that opportunity cost is and you need it calculated, we have proprietary software that'll say, okay, based off of your top 35 wage earning years, if you're not taking a W-2 or you're not paying yourself on that, what should the business maybe be potentially funding at to make up that gap? We can certainly give you that answer.
Yeah, we're going to need to talk. All right, 515-244-0077. We've got one of our listeners who have asked for a couple of those free passports to retirement. Those are tickets. They're free of charge if you hear it on this radio station. Otherwise, it's a $50 value, and it is a $50 value. Actually, it's more than a $50 value. You pay somebody a couple $100 an hour to hear what you guys share for nothing.
Well, then you have this manual that has a lot of information in it.
Yeah, the workbook.
The workbook that they have that
131 pages.
Yeah, it's
135 pages.
Packed full of information.
Now, did you take notes, Robert?
Well, no, but in there you follow part of the book.
I didn't ask him that before because I shouldn't have said that.
You follow part of the book.
He did take the quiz, though. I saw him in class filling out the quiz.
I did take
questions.
the quiz.
The one at the end of the...
No, it's in the beginning.
In the beginning.
But there's a quiz as to questions that most people don't even consider.
Right, to assess your financial knowledge.
Part of the purpose of that book is people absorb information better if you just sit there and you listen, you absorb it through your mind instead of being distracted by taking notes. So part of the benefit of that book is you really don't have to take notes if you don't want to, because a lot of content is in there.
So it's not like when the pastor does the sermon notes and he leaves blanks in the sermon and you have to fill in the words.
Yeah, I mean, there is a little bit of that.
Where's this quiz? I'm trying to find this quiz.
There's multiple quizzes
Probably
throughout
page
there.
11.
Annuity analyzer? No. No, page 11. Okay, there's 12. That's a good book.
I don't recommend you take it, Mac.
Really?
It'll scare you.
Are you serious? Are you satisfied with the yield on your savings program? Is it sufficient to cover your living expenses for several months? Does your insurance provide adequate protection in all areas? Yes, there I'm covered. Do you have sufficient life and disability coverage to protect you and your family? Yes, I do. Here's a fun story. So my mother-in-law, God bless her soul, she took care of my father-in-law for 4 or 5 years. I mean, he wasn't there, okay? And after my wife watched that, and then he passed away, she bought me, I'm going to get this wrong, full disability. I mean, like she could put me in an old folks home and it's all paid for.
Long-term care?
Long-term, that's what it was, long-term care. And when she first told me that, well, you're not going to be there to, take care of me, she said, I'll come by and see you, but I'm not going to do what my mother did. And I'm glad she did that because she shouldn't have to do what,
That's right. She wanted you to have independence.
No, I think she wanted to have independence. All right, guys, our time is up again. Thanks for letting me take a little bit of that time for that news story up front. I appreciate that. This is a real deal, guys. Death and taxes, okay? And right here, it all gets together. And if you just please pray about it, would you? Just pray if you think God wants you to invest 4 hours, 2 hours on one day and 2 hours on the next, to make sure that you don't have to worry when you're 68 or 70 or 75, that you don't have to go to your children and burden them. See, that'd be the hard thing for me. I got to go back on my kids and say, I need you to help take care of me.
Right.
That's not right. So I'm giving you something free here. These guys are giving you something free. It's worth every minute of your investment, but that's up to you. I guess I'd like you to pray to God and say, God, why wouldn't you want me to go to this? And then I think you'll call us and sign up. All right, James, thank you. Lauren, thank you. Appreciate you being here. We'll see you probably in a couple weeks again.
Yeah, our pleasure.
If you ever have any questions, let me know. Let them know. Call me on Facebook. Call Jedediah. Text them. Grab me at church. Whatever it takes. Let's talk about this. Let's talk about this. And don't be embarrassed because you don't know something. I don't know squat. So when you begin to learn something like this, it gets a little scary. All right, as always, I'll ask you, please, whoever you're holding that resentment for, that big bag of rocks, drop it. Give it to Jesus. That's what he's there for. Because as you forgive, you will be forgiven.